Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. You got your earbuds?
Yeah, I got them in, so should be good to go. So I gotta ask you, because the podcast is called Behind the Wheel, are you always behind the wheel?
Sometimes, yeah.
So living in Baltimore, in the inner city, I was present when the Freddie Gray riots occurred.
Baltimore was actually the first city in America to come up with a essentially legal way to ban African Americans' property ownership within white residential areas.
Nation is a two-sided marketplace where we introduce artisanal and emerging brands, mainly snack brands, to consumers at key moments where they're most engaged.
Hi, I'm Derek, and this is Behind the Wheel, a show dedicated to highlighting the accomplishments of ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things within their communities. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your podcast. The palm trees in the back, so I feel like
you matched the set.
I'm matching the set. So welcome back to another episode of Behind the Wheel, a show that's dedicated to amplifying the voices of ordinary people who do some extraordinary things in their community. And we're here today with Jas The Shooter.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. So we're in this studio, and why are we at this studio? What's going on? Tell us about what's happening today.
Yeah, so today we're at Kenny's Earl Creative House, located at 91 Shelton Avenue in New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
This is my personal favorite photo studio to work out of, and today the special occasion is my personal lookbook. It's a seasonal lookbook that I have. I collaborated with Unknown Clothing in New Britain, Connecticut to source the clothing and give us the looks and the fashion and all that stuff. But this is my own personal creative project.
So what is a lookbook?
A lookbook is a compilation of clothing and pieces and outfits put together creatively with graphics and visuals that help showcase the clothing that a certain store or a certain brand has to offer. Mm-hmm. So I personally don't own a store, but I wanted to delve into that lane of fashion photography and marketing and branding photography. So I figured, I could connect with someone that has a store that they may want to showcase their clothing to accomplish that.
So now you're pretty, how did you get started?
With photography or just the lookbook in general?
With photography, and we'll get back to the lookbook.
Sure. So photography, it honestly feels like something that was just like, it was born as a part of me, because when I was younger, I used to love looking at old photo books, like photo albums of my family, and I love looking at my baby pictures, like family reunion pictures. I just love looking at photos. So I've always had that, that admiration for capturing a moment and being able to look back on it. So that was I was just born with that. And then one day, like President's Weekend, cameras were on sale, so I just decided to buy a camera, and I financed it.
So did you teach yourself?
Yes, I'm all self-taught. My mentor, Kenny's Earl, he showed me a lot within my first year of photography, but outside of that, that mentorship, I am for the most part self-taught.
What did you major in?
I majored in Pan-Africana Studies and Computer Science. Okay.
And so you have such a diverse background, which I thought was interesting. So by day, you're an educator in the classroom with autistic children. And then you the photography. And
Yes.
so how did those two things come together?
At the moment, they don't come together. It's kind of just two different lanes that I'm in at the same time. But I do a lot of different things, and I try to make it all work for me. Like, I just enjoy doing this and doing that and doing that and doing this. So I just, whatever I have an interest for, I try not to quell that thirst for something. I just try to go after it, and it, works out.
How did you get to Lincoln?
So I learned about Lincoln University through a college prep program called Village Initiative Project. I actually work for them now. My dad is a board member, so I was exposed to that when I was really, really young. So we still take students on college tours throughout the school year. So they took me on a college tour on my spring break of high school, and we visited it was a 10-day tour. So we visited Lincoln and
a 10-day tour.
Yes, 10-day college tour.
Like we're on a world tour, right?
Yes, of colleges. So we visited Lincoln, and I said, let me just apply here. It wasn't even my first choice. But
What was your first choice?
Drexel University in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I loved that school. In Philadelphia, I love that school. But I applied to Lincoln. I got in. I actually ended up getting a full scholarship. So I worked out.
It worked out. Did you grow up in Bridgeport?
Yes.
Okay. You went to school, obviously. Which high school did you go to?
So I was born and raised in Bridgeport. For high school, I went to 2 different high schools. I was a part of a program called The Better Chance. So I actually went to Ridgefield High School for my first 3 years.
Ridgefield?
Yes, and then my last year, I transferred back to Bassick High School.
Okay. Is Bassick still open?
Yes.
Okay. They have this new one. Looks like a spaceship.
Harding, maybe.
Harding.
Near the
Got a
cemetery?
track. Yeah.
That's the new Harding School.
That is like
Huge, and it's beautiful. It's huge. It feels like a college campus. Like it's actually beautiful on the inside and on the outside. You know, very state of the art. It's a nice school.
So you've been doing some shoots also for bars and I95?
Yes, I'm a production photographer for bars on I95.
So you've got like a pretty diverse background and reach. How do you manage all of this? You need like a personal assistant, you know?
I just try to like get a good night's rest and literally maximize the day. Like, you know, whatever I have to do, just get it done after a good night's rest. A good night's rest is key.
A good night's rest is key. And so that helps you develop relationships?
Oh, no. When I first started working out on my career, I met a lot of people. So I just follow them on Instagram, social media. They see me, they kind of get a feel for like my character, my personality, stuff like that. So I feel like just when I meet someone, we stay in contact with social media, and then whatever develops from there, it develops into something bigger.
So I see you doing food shoots and you're down at Markle.
Oh, I done some photography for the restaurant, and I work there too.
Okay, see what I'm saying? So when I tell you all, you stay busy doing things that are that allow you to tap into your passion and creativity. I feel like I just want to work there. I just want to do this thing.
Yes, thankfully, I've been blessed to do meaningful work, work that means something to me and means something to others. Has a purpose in this world, not to knock anybody's job, but some people work for a job that they hate. I don't have that experience, thankfully. Mm-hmm.
So now I want to venture out and say I want to do this lookbook. So when did you get this vision for the lookbook?
So I had this vision last summer. I probably had the vision around July or so, and I thought about it. I was back and forth with it. I reached out to a couple of stores, and they weren't interested. And so I was like, you know what? Do I do it? Do I not do it? What am I gonna do? But But prior to this lookbook that I shot in December, I hadn't shot for fun in 2 years. So I had been doing work that people had been hiring me for. So I wanted to get back to shooting for just for fun. I wanted to practice manifesting a vision that I created and stuff. So I had the idea in July. I went back and forth with it, and it didn't really manifest until December of 2022.
So what is your process like in between? I get this inspiration and waiting for it to actually manifest. What is your process like in between? So
I was able to connect with Unknown Clothing. I actually went there. Somebody else suggested to me that I go there. One of the guys that works with Bars on I95 as well, DJ Rome. Fuego Bass was having a celebration of his album release on BSF Records. So he was like, oh, you should go there, interview him, talk stuff like that. So it wasn't even my idea. So I went to Unknown Clothing. I saw the space and I actually liked it because I hadn't seen it before. That was my first time in New Britain outside of Lake Compounds or whatever. So I was just shocked with the space. I was really impressed. So I connected with the store owner. And then from there, I said, hey, I have this idea, pitched it to him, and he was interested. So that took off. And as far as creating the vision, I tried to gather my knowledge. So when it comes to when I came down to shooting the winter lookbook or now my spring summer lookbook, I tried to think about what defines the season, what elements, what pieces of nature, what textures, what colors, scream out that season. And then I'll go into my mind, I literally just sit and I close my eyes, I play some music, and I try to think about what was going on.
What type of music are you playing?
So for this type of stuff, I try to play like more calming music, like nothing with too much lyrics. Like yeah, like I like a lot of jazz, or I'll listen to like an instrumental or something like that. Nothing. I don't want any lyrics that's gonna influence me. So just like something. I feel like music is like a conduit for the creativity. Like I really feel like it helps. The vibrations help things go together and bring one point to another. So I get some music going, helps me get in my creative flow, and then I'll try to think about like just close my eyes and like pull out a vision that I have floating around in there, and I'll try to like build on it.
Okay, so now for this set, did you bring these pieces in for this set?
Yeah, so I the plants, this right here, the straw, the wood, the rug. I found all of this at a couple of different stores, and I brought it in to put it all together today.
Okay, so now you're saying it wasn't your idea. Somebody else suggested going to Unknown.
Yes, the lookbook was mine, but the actual clothing store, Unknown, yeah, someone had mentioned me going there.
Okay, so I think part of your gift, because sometimes most people are not very like forthcoming. They were like, I'm just going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to share. But you have something that allows people to connect with you and share. What is that?
So when you came in, we were talking to Kyle a little bit earlier, and Kyle's one of the models that I use for the lookbook. And he had said, he came all the way up from Queens because he knew I would do it for him. So I think that people just see that I'm a genuine person, and when I see people, I try to add value however I can. So I think that people, thankfully reciprocate that to me. So it comes back. When I plant a seed, it comes back to me. Yeah,
it's going to grow. Yeah, I think it attracts like-minded people. It's like, yeah, I want someone like that in my corner. So now it's not just the photographer. You've got a stylist that was here, and you all put this together. And so that to me, I mean, where do you? Well, you're laughing because I'm self-taught. Where does the courage to say I can do this? Where does that come from?
Yeah, so it took a little while to uncover that courage, but I will say that, again, like, when I was a kid, I had a very creative, adventurous mind when I was a kid, and I used to, like, just plan stuff out, and I can literally, like, picture myself back in my room when I was, like, 8, 9 years old, like just drawing things out and like, putting things together. So I think I've always had this within me. I think it's just really like a God-given gift. With time and with experiences, like, life kind of kicks you and the world kind of gets to you. So you get discouraged and all that kind of stuff. But I've recently been on a self-healing journey and a self-uncovery journey, and me going through that and me, like, getting in touch with myself has allowed me to get in touch with different aspects of myself in my creativity and my courage to just try this thing. Even today, like, a lot of stuff went wrong today, but like, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm not gonna waste my energy. So maybe like 3 days ago, one of the models was unable to make it. So I was like trying to replace her, but I couldn't find anyone to replace her. Last night, one of my other models got sick, so I couldn't replace her last minute. An assistant that I was gonna have, on set that was gonna help me assemble things or just take care of little things last minute. She had like a chaotic day at work, so like 3 major components to my photo shoot like kind of like fell out last minute. So I'm like, you know what? Like, is this a sign that I shouldn't do it? But I just kept on going, and I really wasn't even, which is, I'm surprised, not surprised, but I wasn't even too phased. It didn't really get me disgruntled or upset or anything like that. I just, kept on going, and it worked out.
So what's the difference between like shooting for bars or wherever and doing something for this creative work for yourself?
Yeah, so I will say that the difference is like, this is like my baby. Like, it takes so much to even get into the creative space to try to pull a vision out of my head, because between the last one I shot was December and now we're in May. So a couple months have passed, and I almost was gonna like let it dwindle, but just because I was so bogged down with all the other work that I've been doing. So one of the differences is being creative is not easy. Like it takes, a certain kind of mindset. I have found it takes a certain kind of mindset. It takes a certain space to be in. Like you said, having the courage to reach out to someone, knowing they might say no. Having the courage to put all these things together, and even having the courage to trust my vision, to say that, what I came up with, I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to put it out into the world. So it really, people, since artists are a little sensitive, so it's like, really me putting myself out there and not being worried about how people are going to perceive it or what they're going to say or if it will get any interaction or not. So it's a very like personal layer that it means a lot to me, and it's like I could easily let my shyness or any kind of insecurity stop me from doing it, but it takes a lot of like wherewithal and self-courage and resilience to like put this out into the world, like how people make music and things like that. Like it's a very personal thing.
So the creative space in the classroom with autistic children, do you get to be creative there?
In my own little way, I do. I encourage them to be themselves. Sometimes I just like sit and listen to them and get to see what they're doing. And I feel like one of the reasons why I build good relationships with my students is because I'm a little childish myself. So like, I just like to have fun with them. Like learning is a top priority for me too, but having fun is a top priority for me as well in the classroom. So yeah, I bring like my artistic side, my creative side, my open, my free side into the classroom. And I think that it really makes a difference in, how the kids relate to me, how they perceive me. And I think it makes a difference in us building a rapport where they know that I care about them and I value them as a person. Mm-hmm.
So do they know you're a photographer?
Some of them do. I tell some of my students, I tell them every now and then. Some of my students know that I'm a photographer.
They listen to rap music, so do they know that part of you, or they just know Jas the...
I probably told a couple of them about like the artists that I work with and stuff, but I don't always share too much. I more so tell them about like my family portraits. Like I don't tell them that their teacher's a rock star photographer.
A rock star photographer. Yeah, so it's kind of like low key. You're like this. She's like a secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep things here, keep things there. I'm not. And somebody, I met someone through like a different platform, and I didn't tell them that I was a photographer. I didn't tell them I work with bars, stuff like that. And they're like, you should tell people that, like, who you are when you meet them. But I like to be unassuming. Like, I like to just be myself. Like, I like to be Jasmine. You get to meet Jasmine, not, any title that I hold or anything like that wherever I go.
So what's next for Jasmine?
I really want to continue this. I want to continue my lookbook, hopefully get into more branding photography. Like I could see myself taking that more seriously and hoping to connect with more brands, bigger brands, or even local brands to help them accomplish their vision and me help realize my own vision. So I really want to get into a more creative side of my photography work. All
right, so where folks go to find you? They want to
retain
your services.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram @_JASSMI with 4 N's. So it's Jasmine with 2 S's and 4 N's. You can follow me on Instagram, reach out to me on there. I have my booking information, available on Instagram.
All right, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
All right.
That's all.
Yo, it's Gorilla Nems, and right now you're listening to the Behind the Wheel podcast, Connecticut's #1 for business and entertainment. Don't ever disrespect me and listen to anything else, you heard? Bing bong!